Right, so guys who are into the Toronto area have, they're kind of spoiled for choice. You go a little bit south and you end up in Hamilton where the destroyer Haida is. You go a bit further south than that and there's in Buffalo a cruiser and a destroyer. Go east a good ways, you got the Air Force Base at Trenton. Come back a little bit, you're in Oshawa, and now I'm in Borden, which is still an active base, but for tanks, Oshawa is more of a post-Cold War and Borden is more World War II. But there's a bit more than that here. So the unofficial high-speed tour. Building is split up into two sides. The left side is primarily uniforms. A display of NORAD, which they're trying to get rid of, trying to send this one to Trenton apparently. Cap badges. And you'll see the CF5 in the middle there. Apparently Borden is the birthplace of Canadian military aviation. They have a very large collection of model aircraft, complete with one that is always a bit of a sore topic around these parts. It's high tech for you. An actual working chapel. So a fair few of this collection of uniforms comes from General Worthington, father of the Armoured Corps for the Canadians. Some old photographs of the base. It's a Friday afternoon, so it's kind of quiet. Nice selection of pictures. Getting onto the base was easy, wasn't even a guard post. So this is publicly accessible. Tree map. I was hoping it was a map of the equipment that have scattered around, but we'll walk outside in a few minutes. They have an excellent, absolutely excellent small arms collection. Not so much for its size, but because of its variety. And so if you look really quickly, I mean, there's a Fallschirmjäger machine gun, there's Italian rifle up there, war prizes, anti-tank equipment. Not quite so modern. As I say, a wonderful variety of small arms. That should be immediately recognizable. And then you come to the vehicle hall. So when I was last here, 2002, much of this stuff was outdoors, and they've moved to this new location. Starting off with the World War I era field kitchen, cargo trailer. Ford, apparently built locally. And then we hop into World War II. Oh, you got the 6-wheel standard truck back there. So you get onto World War II, you got the Canadian pattern trucks. Duck. Post-war Jeep. A couple of CCKWs. Amusingly, this medical one is a dentist. And if you think about it, they do need them. Machine shop truck. Most of these soft skins are in pretty reasonable condition. Just change out the batteries, the alternator. Ceremonial 25-pounder. Nice shiny polished brass and it looks like she can keep going. And the limber, which often is not seen with the 25-pounders that you find anymore in museums, because usually the 25-pounder is just a gun. But you can see how the 25-pounder would hook onto the limber and then hook onto the towing vehicle, in this case a Lynx. Yeah, relatively uniquely Canadian vehicle. The Dutch have something similar as well. Most modern thing here, the RG, which apparently is empty inside, unfortunately. Oh, yeah, very empty. Pity. And then we get to some of the older stuff. An M1917. Complete with the American testing process is you shoot at it. If it ricochets, you know it's good enough to go in the tank. A Whippet. Mark 6. And Valentine. The engine is still in this one. In fact, you can see the drip pans for the transmission there at the front. So who knows, maybe this one could actually be restored back to running order. Of course, Canada was one of the major producers of Valentine. Matilda 2. Not sure about the dull color scheme, but I suspect it may be a remnant from when it was outside. An unusual anti-aircraft mount on this half-track. Sadly, the M13 is welded. I can't see inside. It seems that some of the stuff is still inside from shining a flashlight through the front. Obviously, it's missing a driver's visor. And I have no idea if there's an engine in it or not either. Universal Carrier. The Canadians did make their own version later, the Windsor, which is a bit bigger. The Universal Sexton, also in pretty reasonable condition. It's missing some of the gun control equipment, but it's nice to know it's there. They say this is easy to convert back to being a runner. Sadly, the RAM is pretty much gutted inside. This little guy here is called a Bobcat. Prototype vehicle. And if your kid gets really bored, they're allowed to climb into the T-55 here. So that is the vehicle hall. And some of the other vehicles on the base are outside. Oh my God, it's bright. Yes, it is summer. I refuse to come here in winter if I can avoid it. The CF5. M4A2 over there. Stop calling it an Easy 8, please. It's not. Well, it sort of is, but it's also an Easy 6 and it's an A2. A lot of people don't distinguish. Centurion with a 20-pounder. Are all the monument vehicles in this park, or are they scattered around elsewhere?
No, they're here and on in Worthington Park itself. There is the odd artillery piece that is around.
Yeah, C1. And another CF5. A lot of those around.
Yes. And there's a Sherman in behind it.
Oh, look at the cute little Iltis. We kind of borrowed one of those in Afghanistan. It looks like the Canadian unit that was there before us just left it there.
Oh, really?
I guess it was going out of service or whatever. They didn't want to bring it back. So they just left it there, and our unit took over the area.
So the idea too right now is to bring back all the outlying stuff, the artillery pieces down here, the Beaufort gun down when you come in the gate, the Lynx that's down there, T-55 as well, the Rutgers, and all back into the central area around
the Memorial Garden. Yeah. That vehicle always looks like it's missing something. It's too smooth. I believe it is affectionately known as the Queen Mary on these parts.
Yes.
The rest of us would know it as a 577. And go walking a little further because there's an interesting piece, if you can see, way across the street corner here. You will recall I wrote an article many moons ago about the US Army testing of the Firefly. And I don't know if it was to save weight or whatever, but when the British shipped over a couple of turrets for testing, they only sent over the turrets. They didn't send over the rest of the vehicle. Which, for the sake of testing, the conversion is fine, because the only difference in the hull really is just you lose the bow gunner and you put in ammunition stowage. Not all that important. So they sent over 2 turrets. One of them is still in Fort Benning right now. It's mounted on an M4A2, I believe. Used to be mounted on an M4A3. I may have that flipped around, but suffice to say, they put it on an American tank. The other one ended up in Canada. And instead of putting it on a Sherman, they stuck it on a Grizzly. And it is now here, pride of place that many people will probably be driving by and not realize what a rare and unique vehicle they're driving past. There you can see the Canadian dry sprocket track. The bow gun, well, it's removed as opposed to plated over. If you look at an actual Firefly conversion, it's been plated over. Gonna get this one running?
We'd like to. Actually, we want to get it inside. This is one of the vehicles that we got to move some stuff around inside the museum itself. Get this back inside.
As an aside, this is Dave. You'll be looking or hearing more from him in a later video. A couple of other little things scattered around, so I'm going to hit pause until we get there.
I was involved with the museum.
So we've come to the far corner of the garden. There's an M60A3, which I have to assume is merely a gift from the Americans, and one of their older labs. Oh, it's not also called a Grizzly, is it?
It's a Grizzly.
It is a Grizzly, okay.
So that was.
I can never keep track of all the variants. There's a Cougar further down here, I saw. So we keep walking. If you're way off in the distance, you're going to see an M24. I'm not going to walk that far. And so coming around the side of the museum, recovery vehicle based off of the hull of the M107 or M110 artillery pieces. My memory is failing me here. I think it's an M578. If not, I am sure somebody will correct me. And a Cougar just behind there. It's basically you take a Scorpion turret, slap it on the Piranha, and put a Canadian flag on the side. Hooray! Now that is a large pack gun way down there.
Pack 43.
Dedicated anti-tank 88. Same gun as you'd find on the King Tiger. And you can see why anti-tank guns started going out of favor. Huge, powerful gun, but you better kill whatever it is that you're aiming at, because you're not going to get many other shots. There's a Pack 40 a little bit further behind it there, the 75, off in the distance. And one of your Leopard mine clouds are sitting there.
Correct. And then the mine rollers and that are down further.
It's Worthington Park.
Yes, it is.
And then early, it looks like Mark 1 almost. 2-pounder with a howitzer. This is a lovely base in the summer.
It is. Gets dry, semi-arid.
So there you go, you want to visit Borden, come second week of June. Rather ratty looking Centurion there with the 20-pounder.
So this one just came from Aldershot, Nova Scotia to Gagetown, New Brunswick, and then we had it shipped here. Eventually we'll get to it restored cosmetically. For now, it does have the engine, does have the transmission in it as well.
I can't imagine that the weather at Gagetown did it any favours.
No.
And a crab. So here's a relatively rare one for you. See the power takeoff there for the flail. Did you not upgrade any of the Sense to the 105?
I don't believe so, no.
Huh.
So this is where the Yak Panzer was sitting.
I was about to remark that a really good person could look at the trail, at the marks, and identify the vehicle which was on here. I am not that good. Ascent in reasonable nick, and way down over yonder, look at that, it is probably another Grizzly, isn't it? So you cast hole 75?
Yeah.
Which brings us to a couple of Stewarts. M5A1 on the left, and I'd need to get it closer to see about the M5 or M3 there. It's either an early M5 or an M3A3. There we go, nice sunny day. I'm about an hour north of Toronto, give or take. So if you do come up this way, well, that's pretty much what you get to see. So take care, see you on the next one.